Okay, I'm just getting all set up here. So welcome to Wednesday live community yoga Narada class. So we're just going through the beginning, the simplified parts pretty much of yoga Narada, because I'm doing this as sort of a live stream community offering, and I can't see what people are doing. So I'm keeping it very simple and very generalized. But I think that this work really transcends well. And hello, you came? Come here, Belle. Yogi Belle is here today. Belle, come here. You gonna do your yoga? Yes, all dogs are yogis. All right, so we have been, December, the theme has been shoulders. So we do a little bit of something having to do more particular with the shoulders at the end of the body release warm-up sequence. So we're just kind of going along with the classic version of starting on the floor, seated on the floor. And we're going to go through a nice self-body massage, especially going into the holidays for everyone. So yes, we do a nice body massage. And, we're just going to try and release some tension, find some breath. Any questions or comments, definitely let me know. I'm not sure if Yogi Bell will stay in here with us. You gonna stay in here? Maybe, we'll see. Okay, so let's come around. I'm just gonna organize this camera a little bit better. I have YouTube and Instagram live at the same time, 2 different devices. If anyone knows how to combine those, let me know. Have not been able to do that. So yeah, we're just going to start off by having a nice comfortable seat on the floor, right? You want to stay here? So you can cross, I'm going to cross my feet. You can do a nice diamond shape. You want to find a nice comfort level through the hips and the lower back here. And we're just take a little side to side shifting and find your sitting bones. In terms of finding, I mean, feel your sitting bones. Feel the heaviness. You're not going to take a fast movement. Very slow and heavy, rocking from side to side. And you have those 2 prominent heavy bones at the bottom of your pelvis, giving you a sense of alignment. We're going to use that to align through the plumb line of the spine. And then kind of settle right through the center. And let's take our hands resting into the crown of the head and just find that sense of plumb lining, meaning releasing down through the bones and not worrying about organizing muscles or anything like that. We're going to just sort of use these visceral cues to let go with gravity, with the forces that we're using, right? So it's much more efficient and it's just much more gentle in terms of adjusting. You want to give your body that sense of space to release through and feel that you can breathe through it. So a lot of times when we're trying to make a change, there can be a lot of surrounding tension to anticipate that change, but that it won't be effective probably. So we want to find where our body needs to be at that moment, giving into the journey of the change. Or if you have a goal, that's great, but you don't have to have a goal. Sometimes you're finding each day what is present. I mean, that's much more yogi, right? To just sort of come into your being and just sort of assess where it is, what is talking to you, what's coming to the surface through the body. It might not be particularly a physical something. Maybe you're feeling some sort of emotional quality transcending through parts of the body. That's obviously huge. Everything is connected. So we're just going to find this nice breath, releasing down from the crown all the way down into the base of the pelvis, into the tail end of the spine, into the floor. And then to let that come through even more, we're finding it with our palms resting on top of the head. And then we're going to release the palms. So we feel a little sense of lightness. We're going to rest the arms down around over the legs, wherever you feel comfortable. And just close your eyes, letting the breath drop down through that plumb line. So now you know what that plumb line feels like. And just imagine your hands are still there as you're just sort of trickling the breath down to let go of any tensions or tightnesses around the bones, and feel that you're balancing into the earth, into gravity. So you're working with the force of gravity to support you. Letting the breath release all the way down. Letting go of any external thoughts or tensions. Try to bring your focus into your breath, relating into some sensation with your body, and feeling that that breath just sort of becomes a little longer or heavier or more let go and released, and it drops down into the base of the spine and pelvis. Feel how that releases through the neck and shoulders. You might feel some little micro adjusting here. Maybe you adjust your chin back, maybe your shoulders and your chest move a little. We call that micro adjusting. So we would just want to allow space for that to happen. And then from here, gently opening the eyes, take your palms together, still focus on this breath, but start to glide your hands forward and back. But feel now that the breath comes up into the surface of your hands. So there's a connection from the pelvis and the breath into the base of your spine, relating into the palms and this energy and friction and heat that we're creating. Relax the fingers, let them glide, go in between your fingers. And then we're going to gently separate the hands, just feeling some space and feeling that energetic buzzing between the palms. So we want to feel that there's a few different ways we can play with this energy. We're going to use the energy to push us out, expanding into the space around your body. So it's like a breath that expands your body open. That breath supports you. It's very gentle, and you're just gently yawning and moving and breathing. So feeling how the internal breath can move your body as an impetus. So, and this gives you, and you're swirling around in any direction you have possible, and just feeling all of the space you have to expand through and be supported by around you. Feeling that your breath expands up above, down below the surface, into the earth, around the sides and behind you. So instead of feeling like you're just vulnerable and hanging out in space, we're feeling very open but very supported by just the air, the molecules of breath around us. And then we're going to reach out through the palms. We want to gather energy from the space around through the hands. Take that energy and just sense it, hold it hovering over your eyes, holding over the eyes, breathing into it, and then just continue to wash over your face around the eyes, letting the breath travel through the palms. So any part our palms are touching has breath traveling through to release. We're going to take the middle fingers into the brow bone, take a nice exhale, and massage from the inside along the brow to the outside with a little lift up into the hairline. So we're going to breathe out, relax the face, and just feel that nice sense of carving and releasing and opening from the center outwards and upwards. Do about 3 of these maybe, keeping that sense of release to feel the sense of calmness, let go and open through your face. Now let's bend the index finger. We're going to sweep under the eyes. Again, we're going along the bone, the orbital bone. We're going to breathe out and just take a nice flush. Maybe you're just finding them. You're tracing along the bone, and again, it sweeps up into your hairline a little bit. Using a nice exhale, try to relax your face as you're doing this, so that sometimes your face wants to quote unquote help, right? And we tense it up a little, but try to just let your face receive this release and openness and breath. And then we'll come around into the forehead. Now we're going to go light with our fingertips, but a nice little scrubbing up and down, moving the lymph under the skin, feeling that we're just letting the body filter through, letting all those little lines release. And then come to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very, very, very light here. A nice little circular movement, just very surfacey onto the skin, and just continue down. Relax your jaw a little bit. And now we can poke with the fingertips more, palpating into the muscles here in between the upper and lower jaw. So we want to find that nice, we're going to find some tension there probably. So just breathe into that and let yourself explore around that area, maybe a little higher, maybe more towards your ears, maybe down lower. That's obviously a big one. And then we're just going to kind of flush through and breathe into that. Now let's go into the scalp above the ears. We're going to take our fingertips like you're washing your hair. We're scrubbing upwards towards the crown, and then we'll trace around the perimeter of the ears, lifting and up, and then going around towards the back, feeling that the breath travels through the fingers. And then when we get around to the back of the head, we feel that nice lifting, and we find the crease. Just move your head a little bit to feel that crease at the bottom of your head and where the top of your spine is. So that's the zone of your occipital. So we want to feel, now we're going to take a massage side to side into that crease, but feel that you're breathing in with the back of your head, you're breathing into your fingers and letting that massage just sort of expand and release and open, giving you a sense of opening into a little bit more space and breath, maybe feeling a little taller through there. When we go into the cervical spine, especially if you have a lot of congestion going on in there, you might start to yawn a little bit. Sometimes that's a natural reaction, right? So your body will sort of yawn because all of a sudden there's some oxygen getting in there. So that can happen. We're going to come back close to the spine. Now go a little deeper along the sides of the spine, working from the top of the neck down. And you're just sort of making this nice release, flushing through, coming all the way down the back of the neck until you've reached the top of your shoulders. Now we're going to dig our fingertips back and up and over. I have something on my nose. We're going to dig, take a nice exhale, sweep, massage, and just take a nice swipe and let go, shaking any tension off the hands and then going back again. We're going to exhale, maybe a different angle, releasing and breathing out and sweeping away any tension or tightness and going back. And again, exhale, just relaxing through and feeling that let go, release, and shake it off. Now we're going to find the breath from the base of the spine and pelvis and use it to start to gather our movement, right? So again, the breath is coordinated with how we engage from the internal to expand through the external. So we're going to interlace the fingers, feel the breath like a nice long line through the midline of your body. We're going to turn the palms forward and let the breath come in and up along the spine, and you're yawning through it. It's moving and it's not held. It's breathing and elongating. It can be a color, whatever connects for you. Just feel that lift through the midline is breathing and lengthening, and then wiggling. So we're just going to wiggle up out of it, feeling a nice little release off of those crevices along the top of the hips, through the low back, sort of unplugging your spine from your pelvis. And then we're going to just soften the arms, release the elbows, let the tail release under, let your arms drape down. Now this circular portion does have a lot to do with our shoulders. So we want the elbows, we're going to do a little swing here just to get used to that. So the arms are swinging not just from here at the top of the shoulder. We want to relate to the scapula, the shoulder blades. So the arms, we want mobility in the scapula. We're also going to mobilize the trunk of the body here, the chest cavity. We're going to make a circle. We're going to sweep the arms around. Find a nice elbow. We're breathing through the side ribs. So we breathe through the side of the chest. We're using the arms to just get a little bit more in there. Exhale, hang. Now soften your tail to come forward and down around. This is kind of like a Ferris wheel. We're going to inhale, find your long tail. The tail reaching down can help lift your chest up easier. And exhale, over, massage, breathe into those crevices around and forward. Sweep around, feeling that shoulder blade massage around the back of the ribs as you breathe through and open the chest. Our shoulders become tight, probably because something else is, pulling into it. In between the shoulder blades and through the neck. We're going to change direction. Exhale, and then soften the tail, just sort of breathing into those crevices. Find that nice window through your elbow to breathe through the other side ribs up. So we're breathing in between the ribs. All of those little webbing intercostals, we're breathing and expanding through, letting the breath in. When we inhale, the sides expand more. Now we're going to come back through center, find your midline breath, lifting you up again. And it lifts you up out of your seat. You're almost lifting off the floor. Keep that lift and separate the hands, and let's just circle through the wrist, keeping that sense of length going as the arms open, and then just eventually hang down from that length in the spine. Just feel the posture and the openness of the chest, and then let it go. Now we're going to come around and take the feet out in front. So we're just going to knee from one side to the other. Right foot is forward. We're going to take the right hand up with the right foot out. Other hand's going to come behind you. So we're just doing a little up and over push over the tail. The breath we just used through the midline yawns up and open through the chest. Let your arm hang, so to feel your shoulder blade drop a little, and you can feel your chest breathe open. And then release. You're just yawning from one side to the other. Inhale, breath lifts you up. We go a little over the tail. That back hand just helps us with the last bit. And then change. Breath comes in and up. So we feel that drop down to open and breathe. And release. And I'm moving my feet. If you want to, you can. Finding the breath in and up. So it's not all about that back palm. It's just a little bit more of a help, and release. Now let's take the feet a little bit apart, both hands up. We're going to circle wrists and ankles, breathing and circling, finding that sense of opening the fingers and the toes. Make your way all the way down to the floor, and then just relax your head over. Relax in the hips and the low back. Start with the weight of your head dropping over, and you're just going to let your breath take over from there. So we find a sense of the weight of the head and breathe through that little drop. If you feel comfortable, breathe out through your nose as you gently drop the head. Otherwise, you can just breathe out through your nose and focus on releasing and see what happens. So if this is, if you're not feeling this, then don't do this. Anything that you don't feel comfortable with, just don't do it. And maybe watch and just feel, that you're going towards something different, and just let yourself learn a little bit because it's different. Everybody, you have your own experience, right? So you don't want to copy what you see. You want to learn what you feel. And we're just going to breathe and hang, and breathe and hang, and breathe and hang, and breathe and hang, and just stay here. Now the weight of the head's going to sway. We're going to breathe and sway over one way and sway over the other way. So now it's nice and relaxed. We're just shifting through the bones, feeling that the breath supports our movement. The breath is our intentional intent to move, right? So we move from the breath And we move from the breath. And we move from the breath. Now we let this graduate until you feel you're rocking up and down from one side to the other, shifting on your sits bones, peeling off the floor and releasing back down, kind of like when we're walking and we're just letting our body shift and move. And now we're going to use the breath through the low belly. We're going to do a little scoop and walk in the hip sockets backwards. We're going to lift up and around, and we're dragging the leg along the floor. Breathe into your lower back to move through this release. Shifting through the hips, letting the sacrum breathe and expand and open up a little bit. So we have lots of nice cartilage to play with breathing into the sacrum. We want to keep it malleable there as long as possible. Now we're going to come forward, lifting up and just drop. So we're still initiating from the pelvis and the hips, and we're just dropping the leg out. You can use your sitting bones like little feet where you push off the floor, push off to propel one over. Focus on the downward side, not the upward lift. And then just find a nice relax and release and hang over at the end. We're going to draw the tail down through the floor. Heavy, long tail draws down. We start to breathe in and up along the front of the spine as that long, heavy tail reaches through the floor and back behind us. We're going to keep going. As we get almost all the way up, the tail's heavier, more dense. We draw the energy through that tail to find the opening release in the chest and shoulders. So we're just floating from the tail being rooted, and then just relax. Yeah. So we don't have to focus on holding the chest and shoulders. We're going to just take a nice little relaxed scoop. Use your fist and just drum into your sacrum. So this is we're just kind of massaging and releasing through the body here, kind of like Qigong, right? So this is a lot of different influences mashed together to create something just nice and fluid with some breath. And we're just kind of going all around, go into your glutes, especially at the top there. You can go up the sides of your spine, towards your kidneys, and back down again. And then we're going to take our fists, just kind of dropping into the back sides of the hips where our greater trochanters are. You're just letting your palms bounce off the back side area here. And then we're going to alternate. So now one side and then the other. So from the back of the hip, we're feeling that we're just dropping and releasing any tension or tightness, sending it down and out through the leg, out through the toes, and just kind of releasing that through that meridian of our body. And now we're going to come around the sides, loose hands, open palms now. Use the heels of the hands, relax the legs, and we take a nice circular fluffing motion. Start up around where the hips are, and we're going down the outside of the legs along those IT band lines. So we want to feel that we're really shaking things off the bone and sort of dropping and releasing and breathing into anything that feels kind of clingy or stuck in there. So by releasing all this external tension, we're starting to give a chance for the internal energy and connection to build up, right? So that we don't have to deal with the external tension as much. We're already filtered. And then we're going to take our palms and just go around the knees, just sort of dropping with that open sort of fist again, breathing into that. You can go around where the quadriceps attach into your knees, and then you can go right on top of the knee joint if you feel comfortable. So whatever feels good for your body, you're just going to do what feels good. And you can go where it feels good. If something doesn't feel right, you're not going to do that. We don't encourage that in this class. Now, we're going to take our fingertips and just tap and drop into the kneecaps here. We're looking for the vibration into the bones. So we're just feeling that sort of vibration waking up internally into the bones. We're going to travel with that vibration down the shin bones, all the way to the ankles, tapping and giving our nervous system a nice little wake up here with this tapping. Going back up the shins again, And then we're going to lean back a little. Use the heels of your hands to flush from your hips all the way down into the knees. And again, with your quadriceps here, you can give a really nice amount of pressure into the bones. So you're just flushing along the femur bones, relaxing. You might feel that you're holding tension and you don't realize it. Go a little bit on the inside or outside, whatever feels good for you. Usually the outside a little, where the hip flexors come through, that might be a little bit more tight, where it kind of poofs up a little bit there into your TFL. And now we're going to come down along the outside. We're taking our fluffy hands again along the outside of the shins, just that nice circular fluffing, bouncing and breathing off of the outside of the shins into the peroneals, where we can get lots of tension bound up here. And we want to release that to give the communication between our knees and our ankles a better chance here. And we're just kind of breathing through that. I don't know, this feels really good for me usually, especially in the winter. And then, which is today, if you're on the East Coast. So now we're going to come back and let the feet come in. We're going to use the tops of the hands. This is just whatever you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be where I am. And don't try to press your knees down. Just take a nice drop on the inner line of the leg. So we're going into this inner thigh adduction line from the inside of the hips. And we're taking that flush downward along this line, all the way down closer to your knees. And then from here, we're going to gently flex through the heels. We feel a little engagement through the calves. We're going to take our fists and just let your breath drop your fist down into your calves. And just breathing out and dropping down. So there's a nice little shaking around off the bone again and letting that breath release. And, just sort of going with, again, how it feels. If for some reason you're very sore here, or just, you don't like this big drop, it doesn't feel good, you can go smaller and just use your repetition to gently ease it open and breathe through a little bit more. Come down towards the lower part of the calves into where your Achilles go, and then all the way down. We're not quite going to get into the ankles, but sort of leading into that direction. The bottom of the calves and the soleus into the Achilles. And then we're going to take our hands back behind and just take a nice little relaxed shake out along the floor, breathing through the back of the knees, and just wiggle through the hips, releasing the shoulders. We're going to take the right knee up, let the breath come in. We're going to feel the breath through the midline, release from the tail of the spine as we exhale and let the leg go. I have sticky socks on, and that did not go very well. And then again, exhale. And again, up. And exhale. And again. So there's a little connection through the low belly that builds the release of the leg. You want to find that with your breath before you let go. It'll be much more effective to release where you want. Now from here, just relaxing, letting the legs hang, and we're just going to do little taps rolling in and out, just moving from the bones and just feeling that nice little release in the hips all the way down, little vibration tapping through the inner big toe. And then from here, let's bring the feet in, and we're just going to take some nice ankle circles, breathing into the feet and moving the feet around in a nice circular motion, just starting to kind of mush around through the feet. Let's relax the feet on the floor, and we'll take a nice massage right into that inside ankle, underneath the ankle bone, getting into all these crossover tendons and just sort of loosening up that area on the inside of the foot. You can go through your inner arches here a little bit, the adductors of the feet, which tend to roll in a lot or misalign or wiggle around. So We want to build some sense of awareness and waking up there. Then we're going to come underneath the feet, maybe using your thumbs. A really nice deep massage, circular massage. Go from your heels up through the arches into the balls of your feet, and just let things kind of mush and move around here, especially underneath the balls of the feet where the toes start to come out. I have 2 pairs of socks on, which kind of feels nice, but also feels a little constrictive. So now we're just going to mush around. I'm just getting a little bit more juice there. Let's come underneath the balls of the feet and just hold some space in between the toes with your hands, breathing into that. Just feeling a sense of openness and breath through the toes, like your inner froggy feet. And then we're going to gently release. We're going to take our hands back behind. Feel that you're gathering through the midline with your legs from the outside of the hips. We're just going to take a nice walk. We're going to exhale from the pelvis all the way down through the toes, walking through the feet, reaching your toes out and walking. You're doming and pulling the heels up. We're going to exhale, walk, and your toes pull your heels through. We're just rolling through the feet. Breathe down into the floor. Don't worry about the pickup. Just breathe down into the floor. And then once you get too far away, reverse. Breathe your toes over first. Melt and drag back. Up and over. Toes. And we just melt. Breathe into the floor. Drag back. And toes. And melt. Drag back. Let's go forward again. Exhale. And walk. Again, breathe into the floor and walk. One more time, and breath and walk. Now just relaxing, shaking the legs out. Let's bring the feet back into wherever you're comfortable with whatever that position is for your hips, cross or diamond. We're going to take a deep breath and just massage up around the chest, getting a nice flush through the lymph of your trunk here. Breathing up and around and through. And then we can come around through the abdomen and into the front of the hips, into this groin area, just flushing through the lymph there. And then right up into the center of the chest, feeling that there's a lot of tension we hold here. Just do a little up and down, scrubbing into your sternum, into your breastplate, and breathe out a little bit. Let the tension go. Maybe feel the shoulders let go with that, right? And then we're going to just sweep down. Sweep from your ribs down into your pelvis, right through that midline. And then start to sweep underneath the sides of the ribs through that space. A little gentle opening there. And then come around through the other side, breathing into that space a little. And then coming back through center, relaxing the arms, let the head drop over, and just massage into the front of your shoulder with your other hand here. So you just want to kind of, again, let yourself explore where you feel the tightness. Again, a lymph area that we can really kind of mush and flush through and just sort of help your body pay more attention to this area, letting your head go over and just feeling on your own body how much pressure feels good. Sometimes our only relationship to touching to these different areas is through going to a massage where someone else is doing it, who is a trained professional. But at the same time, maybe you can be more clear with your massage therapist or something by knowing what it feels like when you're doing this on yourself, right? So, or what areas you want to pay attention to. So now we're going to hang to the other side, relax, and then just start going in and massaging around and just sort of exploring the parts that are attached closer to a bone might feel a little bit more effective to massage through. So, and you might feel sensitive. You want to go gently with whatever you're feeling there to let go and let your body release through it and not force anything. And then just gently coming back up through center. Now from here, we're going to let the breath lift us up and lift the arms through. We're going to let the breath come through. Inhale. So we're suspended by that lift, and we're going to keep the lift. Exhale, let the arms go. I'm going to try not to get in the way of bell. And tail softens, breath comes in and up. Feel that each little vertebrae is elongating up, and let it go. One more time, breath brings you up. And release. Now we're going to shake it all out. The shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, letting the head go. Let your breath get into your upper back ribs all the way down, especially the lower part of the arm from the elbows through the forearms, through the wrists here. And just getting a nice shake off the bone again. Relaxing the arms and hanging down. We're going to use the breath through the palm. We sort of switch the order with this. It doesn't matter. We're going to exhale, just drop over, release. So you're just sort of patting yourself, a nice swing, and pat up and over your back, up and over your shoulder. Getting a little bit more awareness and just getting a sense of breath and release into the upper back ribs. The lungs are all the way up there. And then just relax. Now from here, we're going to interlace the fingers, go into the back of the head, and right at the bottom of your head, at the top of your neck. You're just going to, and let your elbows, if they need to come forward, that's fine. You're going to feel the caressing breath through the back of your head into your palms. So as if you're against a wall or something, but nicer, almost like a hammock for your head and neck. Breathe into your palms a little bit here and feel that sense of expansion and length and release. Now, allow the tail end of your spine to adjust with that. Sometimes the tail tenses up because the whole cranial sacral effect. We do one thing up here and then something else happens down at the tail. So draw some energy down through the tail to let the tail find its plumb line while you continue to find the breath through the back of the head and neck. I find that I need to shift backwards more than I think, and that eventually releases through my chest in between my shoulder blades. So that's why I'm mentioning this. Sometimes the chin comes in and back and up, and it just sort of stops there. And then there's tension in between the scapula because we've braced to bring the head back. If we let the whole spine draw back, and if I keep going back and in with my head, go back enough and let your shoulders, your elbows relax enough so that you feel you breathe in between your scapula. The breath through the back of the head. And I kind of feel like I'm leaning back here, right? And I bet from the side view, I'm not. So maybe there's a forwardness in my chest holding from my low back, which I know there is. So we're going to breathe through that space between the shoulder blades. Feel this release, breath between the shoulder blades as your palms sweep up and release the arms open. So the breath between the scapula releases your arms around and down. Try to breathe through that plumb line without your hands behind your head, feeling a sense of breath and space between the scapula. There's a nice soft hand resting between your scapula, and you're just as if it's nice when you do this with someone else. If you just relax your palm onto someone's body, you're not going to send any energy. You just you can send a certain type of energy, but no force. You're just going to rest your palm in between someone's shoulder blades so that they can feel the breath travel into a hand. And using the image of a palm being there is really nice. Feel how that releases through your neck. That's the whole idea with that. Now from here, We're going to relax through this. We're not going to do our spotting. We're going to come around to our shoulders. So let's come around and bring the legs, knees up to the ceiling, bending both knees with your feet flat on the floor. What we're going to work on is moving through the spine in a curl, a flexion position, and then an arch, extension. Now, the shoulders and the hips can rotate around that motion of the spine. We're going to use this, what I was just talking about, the movement between the chest, between the shoulder blades. We're mobilizing through the chest cavity, but we're also mobilizing through the arms in a spiraling motion, right? We initiate through the spine and the pelvis, and then we're going to let it filter through our shoulders. And the thing is, you're going to get your hips too, right? So let's take our hands back behind. We're just kind of resting here. We're going to separate the feet a little bit, about hip width apart. Now from here, we're just sort of lazy on our tail. While you're back here, rotate your fingertips in towards your tail, towards, not too much maybe, however much you can get on an inward rotation. Now you're going to bend your elbows and just breathe. You're going to do a little tiny push with the feet and feel like you're softening through the sacrum to get a nice relaxed scoop into your low back, and almost like your breath slides you out of your pants, that feeling of length. There's a sense of elongating and traction, finding that softness in the sternum. What you'll find, and we have these nice bent elbows behind us and out to the sides like spider arms, rolling the shoulders forward as the chest softens. So as the sternum softens and breathes in, then the shoulders can adjust and move. Now to come up out of this, there's a string through the crown of the head. It pulls you up. Keep pulling with that string so that you don't get too much tension. Now we're lifted up over the tail. We're going to externally rotate the palms behind. You can let your knees open a little on this. Now, the breath through the midline lifts us up over the tail, but we're going to use the shoulders to round back and just feel that you're breathing. We're still rotating. Think of the top of your arm, the humerus bone is churning, and that's going to help you open through the chest and breathe this space through. And that's going to release through the shoulders. In the back of our body, now we have that a change, right? It's the opposite. Now again, lift, string through the crown of the head. We're going to change. Start with your feet. Exhale and draw. Find that softness. Find the width of your elbows and your hands. You can go very wide. And just soften and breathe, scooping and lengthening. I do a little bit of a wiggle here, a little bit of shifting to ease the edges open. Crown of the head, that string pulls you up as the breath comes in. Up and over the tail and exhale. Don't forget about your nose. So we don't want to drop the head back with the chin. Your nose lifts up right into your occipital. We're going to lift up through the crown, come forward, and find that push with the feet. Exhale, breathing and rounding the shoulders forward. Feel that your back is expanding into the floor, the lower back, the upper back, and just get some space and release and breath into that area. Find that string, pulls you up. Inhale up. That lifts you over your tail. And we're going to take a nice exhale. Again, find your tail and find your nose. So sometimes finding the chest just pulls our head back because sometimes our head feels heavy. You're going through and open and rotate. And then we're going to lift up through the crown to come out of that. Now from here, let's come around onto our hands and knees. And I did this a little bit last week. I'm not going to spend as much time explaining this, but we're going to move through it. So now we're in quadruped. We're on our hands and knees. You want to find your plumb line from the bottom ridge of your scapula all the way down into the heel of your hand. And you're going to have a light touch through the heels here. Your feet can be relaxed long. feel that you're just shifting a little to feel that plumb line, to make sure that your shoulders aren't lifting up too much and you're not taking yourself off alignment before you start. So just relaxing the shoulders and shifting. And again, you'll probably feel your head and your neck adjust. We're going to just breathe, lifting the belly up to the ceiling. Breathe into the back of your body to round your back. So you let your tail round under. Your head drops down. You're looking into your navel. And just take a nice exhale, pushing the floor away to expand through this breath. We're going to let the breath come in. Release from the tail to bring your chest through the shoulders. The tail end controls the chest and the head. Lift your heels, tuck your toes under, and then take a nice exhale. Just gently pull the tail back and bend your elbows. Very gentle and soft. Let the breath lift you up to change, releasing the feet. Take a nice exhale, breathing into your upper back ribs, letting your head drop and gently pushing the floor away. Finding the breath in and up along the spine. Unravel through the tail to ease your chest through your shoulders, and find that tail soft, relaxed. Bend your elbows a little to draw the tail back, opening your chest. Now from here, we're going to take the right palm like a nice heavy paw. Drop your paw out on that diagonal in the front. You're going to look away. Your opposite back sitting bone pulls back on the diagonal. You relax your shoulder blade to glide and open into the back of your ribs, opening underneath. And then abdomen, breath brings you back in. Find the breath. Find your other heavy paw, drop. Find your opposite sits bone, draw back. You're going to look away and just feel that back hip filter all the way through this heavy palm. And breath brings you back together. Drop into your paw and find that back sits bone, the opposite. Find the diagonal, breath and release through. Dragging through. You're probably going to get a little bit more. The breath collects you back in. One more time, drop your paw and find that release. So you're trying not to hold your shoulder up here. That sits bone drags you back to help let your shoulder go, so that now you're looking away and now you're breathing through that traction. So it's from your hip all the way through the shoulder, through the palm, and the breath brings you back in. Now from here, we're gonna let's relax the feet long. We're gonna take the right foot back, toes tuck under, and just feel your tail glide that heel back behind you. You're breathing into the front of the hip, back of the knee, release the ankle, and change. So we're gonna tuck the other toes under. There's a lift and a lengthening, so we connect through to release and come in. And again, toes tuck under. Exhale, your tail glides the leg back. And bring that back in. One more time, tucking the toes, find your heel. Release that heel, let the heel glide and slide through the foot and in. Now from here, if you feel comfortable, if your knees, if you have tricky knees, be careful of this one. We're going to tuck the toes under, come close to your knees with your palms. You're going to you can watch me if your knees aren't good. You're going to just push back into a little kind of squat, hanging your tail over your heels. Let the knees open a little and let your arms hang over your knees. Let your head drop down. And you're just going to kind of bounce your tail to the floor, letting your feet release and open, letting your Achilles go, and just breathing. Use your hands to kind of shift your body weight a little bit, very light. So you're just letting that light shift. I mean, you can feel this all the way through into your hips and your low back. It's not just your Achilles. We're going to take the hands really close to the toes. Take a deep breath. We're going to exhale, push on the floor to stretch your legs. Stretch and push. And then just separate the feet a little, hanging over.
Shake the legs out here. And then we're going to bend the right knee, hang your body over the right knee, shift your body weight into your left heel, your hip to your heel, and change. So now you bend your left knee, you hang over the left, you're going to breathe into the right and change. Bend your right, exhale, shift into your left hip and heel, and change. Bend your left, shift into your right hip and heel, breathing, and come back center. Now through center, relax and hang over. Wherever you're comfortable, we're going to hold on to the elbows here. Grab your elbows, holding on. And if you can, if it feels good to pull your elbows to the floor, you can do that a little bit here to breathe into this release through the upper back neck, but also feel that plumb line from your tail, through the back of the legs, all the way down through your heels. We want the breath to lift us up. The upper abdomen lifts to the ceiling. As that starts, you let go of the elbows. Let your arms be in a nice drape here. Breathe in and up through the upper abdomen. That gives you space to release the tail end down through the heels, through the floor. We keep breathing through each little vertebrae, rolling up. Now, as you get almost to the top, hold a little pencil under your chin. Keep breathing in and up, in and up, in and up. You're going to feel that the tail lets go more, and then your chest and your head come all the way through, and your chest feels open. Now, we're going to come forward, just standing here, and let's interlace the fingers. We're going to turn the palms forward, and just like we did on the floor, take a nice, I'm going to bring my, however close your hips feel comfortable bringing your heels in. That's where your feet are going to be. So we're going to turn the palms and just take a nice breath all the way up. So we feel that space between the shoulder blades, and you can just shift a little bit over through the hip, through the side. Find your long tail going down to bring you up through center, and that long tail shifts over to bring you side, and long tail goes down to bring you up. We're going to exhale, bend your elbows wide, exhale, go over to the side. Now we're going to make our circle, a tiny bend in the knees, just to sweep your tail under enough to bring the arms around, soften your chest. Inhale through, find your window through the side ribs. We're going to come all the way up and then look up, opening the chest. And exhale, hang into it. Find that release under and around. Let your breath guide you to move through the stretch up and through. Find a nice breath through center, up. Tail goes down, exhale, over to the other side. We find that little sweep under through the tail to soften the chest. We're really getting into the crevices with the breath. Breathing, inhale through the side ribs, wide elbow, breath comes in, opening the chest up. One more time, going over. And exhale, that little sweep under to come forward. Finding that release, breath comes through the side ribs, elbow, that long tail sweeps down to bring your chest up. And just feel the breath opening through the chest, releasing the shoulders. And we're going to let the chest breathe and release the arms open. So the breath from the chest releases the arms, and the shoulders are just a pass-through. Letting the arms hang down. Take a breath and just relax here. And then just kind of shake it all out, releasing through the shoulders. You can hang down if you want. Maybe after being on the floor, it doesn't feel good to hang down. And then from here, we're going to interlace the fingers behind, make a fist here. Now from here, you don't want to just pull down and pinch your shoulders together. You want to feel that you're actually, from your tail
pull your tail down. As you're going to find, as you interlace your fingers and stretch the arms, your tail pulls down to open the chest, and then you'll see your shoulders just really, really fold. There's a folding from that tail opening the chest. Keep breathing through that tail so much. Take a really nice breath. Eventually the arms release and let the breath come in. You're going to probably float up and just feel the breath float the arms open. So all that breath internally releases and supports that floating, letting go in that slowness, and then letting the breath come through, and then just finding your tail to walk out of that. Yeah. So, yes. Excellent. So, yes, and what do you think, Val? Thank you very much. I hope everyone has really nice holidays. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'll still plan on doing it next week. Why not? So have a wonderful week, and I won't wish you Happy New Year yet. I'll wait for that. And thank you, and be well, everybody. And happy birthday, Greg. We'll send off with Yogi Bell here in her constructive rest. Well, she's kind of moving around. Thank you. Bye.